So you know what I was saying at the start of my previous video about opening up a can of worms? Well, what do you know? It's happened again. So, shortly after completing my previous project on the one side of the room, it kind of started to become obvious that this side was it was sticking out like a sore thumb, really, in the fact that it didn't really match anything else. So I was thinking of ways I could improve this. This is my music area, or what's become my music area, obviously. Obviously, you can see the grey shelf at the moment. I custom made that myself to fit the gap specifically. But it was specifically when I'd got TVs on there, really, and consoles underneath. However, things have changed and I've turned it into like a music area, like I say. So I'd kind of like it in the same sort of white aesthetic as the Kallax I've got down the sides of the room. I could just paint this shelf white, to be fair, but I'm I mean, it does work quite well, but it's not perfect because you can see my sort of retro 90s ghetto blaster thing. Well, that's not the one I really want to use. I've got a better one from the 80s, but it's too big to fit in the gap. So that would mean either making something else or taking this apart and customising it further and lowering the shelf, or taking the shelf out. You know, major reconstruction of that shelf, or completely starting again and making another one. I can't really be arsed, to be honest. So I started looking on the IKEA website at things that might potentially work. And anyway, a Kallax is now good, so I can't have a Kallax to match. However, I've chanced upon something which is more or less exactly the right size, and with some slight customisation I think it might work. So I've decided to go for it. So we'll see how it goes. I'm hoping it's going to work out really rather well, and it certainly should enable me to substitute that Panasonic sort of little stereo for the better one I've always wanted to get in the room somewhere and haven't been able to. However, this being a can of worms, it didn't stop there. So the other glaring omission in the room was this section here. I thought it'd be nice to have a matching white unit here. Again, I custom made this one myself because it's a funny space and I can't have a very deep shelf. It's got to be quite shallow to fit in the gap. So you can obviously you can see it's my Neo Geo shrine. So again, I was looking on the IKEA website for something that possibly might work, and again I've found something which I think it's the right size, but the way it's configured, it's not going to allow me to display my Neo Geo as they are currently. So I'm gonna go for it, I think, and see what I can do regarding the Neo Geo display. Whether I have to change that up or change the shelving slightly, I don't know. But I really want this white aesthetic all around the room. Again, I could paint this shelf, and if this other stuff I buy doesn't work, I suppose that's sort of a fallback, if you like. I could paint this shelf white, but I would kind of like something a bit more in cohesion with the Kallax if possible. So we'll see. Anyway, you know what we need to do now, don't you? We need to hit the road. Guess where we are again? Yes, it's IKEA. My new second home. Strong sense of deja vu here. What do you reckon? One day's takings in here and you'd be set for life, wouldn't you? Right. Shelves emptied. All on the floor. New shelving unit. So just need to swap it over now and hope it all fits and I can fit everything in. This is a Bester unit. Never had one of these before. Very simple to put together. And you can buy extra shelves. So I have got two. I'm not sure if I'm going to need them. So, good news. It fits in just nicely. Slightly smaller than the old unit. But it blends in nicely with the Kallax. So, from an off-the-shelf item, I don't think that's too bad. Just got to hopefully get all this stuff back in there now. Right, it's all back on the shelf. I don't think it's quite as well displayed as it was previously because I've lost my front on baseball stars showing the artwork. So I don't know whether I can tinker it to make it any better, possibly, but nevertheless it's all on there, fairly similar to what it was before, and I do like how the shelving now matches. Blends in quite nicely with the Kallax. I just might need some titivation, but I'm quite pleased with that overall. I think it's come together quite well. So next up, it's a much bigger job. We've got to strip out all this and then attempt to modify the new unit and get it all back together. Okay, we are now clear and hoovered. We have, however, got somewhat of a mess on the floor. And there's my larger stereo I want to try and incorporate. New storage unit. So, time to build it up and see A, if it fits, and B, can we modify it. Right, we're all back set up. New unit in place. Everything back as it should be, fitted in an absolute treat. Almost made to fit. Unbelievable, really. I customised it slightly, raised the shelf so it allowed me to get my desired ghetto blaster in, which I've now been able to do. Fantastic. I've been trying to get that into the room for years without success. I've left enough room to run a row of cassettes. So again, brilliant. Some few CDs to the side of the hi-fi ghetto blaster, and we've got plenty of room for expansion on cassettes should I find any more. And then we've got the same as it was before, basically on the top. I've got the old turntable, and then we've got CD playback, iPod dock, and we've got music VHS as well as the turntable. So really pleased. Really looks just as sort of good as I was hoping. Blended in really well, and now it all looks fantastic, all being white. I've slightly rearranged this as well. I may have, I don't know if I did I did record a video, but I might not upload that one, and I'll include it on this now as well. So yeah, I've I've rearranged this, so we've got AES now on the bottom shelf, and we've got the two minis on the sort of middle, if you like, alongside the Neo CD and the controller. And I've managed to get, now I've rearranged it, I've got my MBS 2-player arcade stick on the top, which I hadn't got on show before. So although I've lost out on my Baseball Stars front facing, I've gained the MVS stick sort of topping off the unit of the Neo Geo Shrine, really. So all looks great. And then we've got also Neo CD games running down there as well. So it's a nice little Neo Geo Shrine corner. I think it'd be nice with one of those 3D printed Neo Geo signs now on the top somewhere. So I think I'll keep my eyes open for that. But overall, I'm really chuffed with the new upgraded units. Everything now blends in white. I'm really chuffed. And that is definitely the worms back in the can. We are complete. And most importantly, we can now get back to gaming. And it's time for the Evercade, and we've got to be playing some more Donut Dodo. Have you tried it yet? What an incredible game. I've not played it in about a fortnight, thanks to all this messing around. Get yourself on Donut Dodo. It's incredible.